like it or not, for the NAC vendors that are out there, cloud is here. So it's here to stay. And that is a tough proposition because many NAC solutions were designed around the entire premise of protecting an on-prem or a corporate enterprise network. So what we found here is that cloud adoption is increasing. Right now, the hesitancy we've seen for cloud adoption over the previous years is gone. Gartner predicts cloud services spending this year will total $332 billion. It's not slowing down anytime soon. Moving into next year, we're talking about an estimate of $397 billion. You're talking about multi-cloud and hybrid environments. So you may have environments where you have private data centers, private clouds, on-prem, public clouds mixed together. You may have multiple cloud service providers out there. Many organizations are not relying on only one cloud service providers. So these are not things friendly to really the previous iterations of NAC because many of those solutions fall short being able to address some of these challenges. So why are these challenges? Exactly what, when you peel that back a little bit, what specifically makes it hard for NAC vendors to be able to address some of those issues? Well, first of all, with the cloud adoption, the network perimeter is disappearing, right? So network access control was really all about the network perimeter. When something connects to your network, you have to make sure that it's authorized to connect. You have to assign privileges, or you must quarantine it if it's not authorized. But with the perimeter disappearing, that's difficult. Traditional NAC enforcement was all based on that, the corporate network edge. So with the edge disappearing or moving, how do you address that? Your typical NAC enforcement mechanisms are also disappearing. So if you think about it, quarantine VLAN was one of the most widely used strategies with network access control. And when you talk about cloud environments, quarantine VLANs are simply not an option. Also, typically, having actual access to network equipment to configure ACLs and ports and all of the moving parts that were there for a typical NAC integration, that's also no longer an option. AWS controls their own network environment. You do not access AWS routers and switches. You cannot configure quarantine VLANs and use technologies like 802.1x or SNMP to manipulate network equipment. So really what that leaves is the only two control points remaining are the cloud itself and the endpoint. So whatever solution you have needs to be able to leverage the endpoint and the cloud to be able to emulate what historically was done with network access control and segmentation, etc. So those are the questions. How do you keep your existing NAC in place for your on-prem requirements, but also add in your cloud environment? How do you extend visibility and control into the cloud environment? And again, we're talking about multi-cloud service providers. So when you're looking at that, you're saying, do I have to go into, if I have multiple cloud service providers, do I have to go into each cloud service provider and try to build my own NAC or implement, reconfigure all of my historic NAC security policies into 3 different cloud service provider consoles? It's just a management nightmare. So those are some of the challenges for NAC vendors to be able to still be relevant in the era of cloud adoption.